Hey there guys, and welcome to the second of two videos this week of Matthew Presents, where of course we are going to be doing episode 14 of the best possible series. We're done with the regular series now, so we've only got 2 more episodes to go, and today we are going to be going through all the Christmas specials and picking my favourite. This is going to be one hell of a fun video, so sit back and enjoy. So we are now done with the regular series of 13 episodes and into the Christmas specials, and of course there have been 9 Christmas specials, because usually in all the first 13 videos we've done in this series I've talked about 7 episodes, but today I'm going to be talking about 9, so this video might be a little bit longer, and I'm also answering 6 comments at the end from both of last week's videos. So yeah, this might be a little bit longer, but nevertheless, let's get started quickly by talking about the first Christmas special in New Who, which was the Christmas Invasion. So, beginning with the first Christmas special ever, and what a Christmas special it was. Following the departure of Christopher Eccleston, we were introduced to a new Doctor after watching our first ever modern regeneration. It was their first go at introducing a Doctor after he'd just regenerated, and my god, they couldn't have done it better. A lot of people complain about this episode that though the 10th Doctor didn't really appear till the end, he was sleeping for most of his first episode. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it, because we got to see the effects of what regeneration had on him, which was also very good because it taught us what the Doctor can be like after regeneration. And it also got to see what the companions were like. You know, when the Sycorax invaded, you know, I love the scenes when they were talking to the government and stuff like that. I thought that was really good, and you know, seeing Harriet Jones as well, again was brilliant also. But yeah, the Sycorax were absolutely fantastic in the story. I really love them, and I really want them to come back. I apart from cameos in like the End of Time and other little cameos, I don't really see why they've not returned fully yet. I mean, at the end of the episode, yes, they were shot down, but they were going back to their planet to tell other Sycorax about Earth. So is it because they never reached Earth, so the other Sycorax don't know? Or would the other Sycorax have found out and, thought, where's this missing ship gone? Let's go and investigate. So who knows? But they should definitely return. But, of course, the standout moment, the build-up. He woke up now and then, so, he woke up in his dressing gown, sonicking a Christmas tree and all that, which was very good. See, the good thing about this episode is it had the perfect balance between a Christmas special and an actual Doctor Who episode as well. But, yeah, as you can see on the screen, you cannot beat the scene when the 10th Doctor walks out. When all hope seems lost, the Sycorax starts speaking English and he opens the doors. Did you miss me? And, the next, 10 minutes of him just owning the Sycorax. I mean, he was the Doctor right there and then. As soon as he walked out that TARDIS and he was, saying this hand's a fighting hand, and he was running up and talking about the blood and all that, and basically completely owning the Sycorax completely. You just knew that this guy was going to be great. Couldn't have been a better first impression, I don't think, and the sword fight on the Sycorax ship was just downright epic as well. So, people complain the 10th Doctor wasn't in it much, but he made up for that. My God, did he, in the last 20 minutes of this episode. So, Christmas Invasion is the perfect balance between Christmas episode and a Doctor Who episode. It was also the perfect introduction for a Doctor. The Sycorax were great. It's a very difficult episode to follow, so I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. I love this. Next up, we have the Runaway Bride, which introduced us to a future companion, of course, being Donna Noble, who appeared in the TARDIS at the end of Series 2 and appeared to be one of the most stubborn people that the Doctor had never met. Arguably, her first impression made her a little bit unlikable, but it was also nice to see her put the Doctor in his place, and throughout the Runaway Bride, the softer side of Donna Noble came out, and her and the Doctor started to actually have quite a bond. But once again, I love the modern day Christmas special episodes. I really don't like all this fantasy stuff that we're getting recent years, which I'll get to later on, of course. I love the Earth present day based Christmas episode because it relates to our Christmas. We can sit at home and be like, oh, I can relate to that because that's what happens on my Christmas. Family, Christmas dinners and all that. In the Christmas Carol and the Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe, we can't relate to them anyway, but that I'll get onto them later on, don't you worry. But yes, The Runaway Bride, again, is another fantastic Christmas special. You know, we get to see a bride who was ran away from, didn't run away from her wedding, she literally got forced away from it, but finding out that her husband-to-be was actually working for the Rachnos was it was a great twist on the story as well. The Rachnos itself, I thought, was a very great villain. I really do like the Rachnos. And one thing I don't get, and James has mentioned this on many, many occasions, is how the hell were the Rachnos at the centre of the Earth with the Silurians and pretty much loads of other monsters? I mean, they must have had a gangbang in the centre of the Earth when they first came together, honestly, but that's a nitpick in itself. The Rachnos were brilliant, and I think the Doctor was great as well. Donna was fantastic. I think the ending was great as well, because obviously drowning the spiders, drowning the Rachnos' babies as well. That's quite dark, you know, drowning baby spiders, as much as probably most of us kill spiders on a daily basis. Drowning baby spiders was quite powerful in that episode, and Donna had to literally force the Doctor to stop as well, which was quite powerful. So there were some real standout scenes in Runaway Bride. I really enjoyed it as well. It was great to see the Doctor actually be, you know, kind of walk in on Donna's wedding and be this really strange old man with a sonic screwdriver. The pilot fish also made their return. So The Runaway Bride's another very solid Christmas special, one I really enjoy. So I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. Onto a Christmas special that for some reason a lot of people don't like. And I don't know for the love of me why. A lot of people complain that the Voyage of the Damned has too many deaths for a Christmas special, but that's what I enjoy about it. Call me dark and weird, but that is what I like about it. I think the great part about this episode is the setting, the Titanic in space. I think that's a brilliant idea. And the set design is pretty great as well. And I like the way that the characters that we meet are all brilliant. They're all different, apart from that, I can't remember his guy, that one who actually survived, that really greedy one. Apart from him, all the characters were absolutely great. And what I love most about Voyage of the Damned is that these characters, we literally grew to love them so much, and then most of them got killed off, which was very, very sad.
Rickson Slade.
Rickson, that's the one. But yeah, a lot of characters that we grew to come pretty close to got killed, like the couple, they got killed. Bala Kabbalata, he also sacrificed his life. So there was a lot of deaths in this, and a very, very powerful episode as well, along with Astrid as well, played by Kylie Minogue, who herself got a lot of views for this story. But there were some great standout scenes as well. I mean, you cannot beat the scene where they are trying to own the Doctor and says, "Who are you anyway?" And he just turns around and makes that amazing speech that they then replicated in the Day of the Doctor. That's how famous it is. And then they can't beat the moment when he finally meets Alonso and just says, "Alonso, Alonso." I mean, it's so well written. The script was just genius for Voyage of the Damned as well. And we did get some characters who survived, like Mr. Copper, and we also, the Mr. Copper Foundation did get later on referenced as well. So, yeah, a lot of great references came from this, but I think it was a very powerful story. Some may say that it wasn't exactly fit for a Christmas special. It could have just been in a regular series, and to be honest, it could have just been in a regular series, but I think Max Capricorn, although you could say he was a bit Panto-esque, I didn't mind him, but the way Astrid did sacrifice herself was quite powerful as well. So I think, I don't know if, I can see why people complain that death's not good for a Christmas special, but I really like Voyage of the Damned. It's, call it a guilty pleasure. It's just an episode that I'm obsessed with. I could watch it a million times over and not get sick of it. So call it a guilty pleasure, call it a weird decision. I really like Voyage of the Damned, and I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Next up, we have The Next Doctor, which was a title that pretty much blew up theories across the internet. The Next Doctor, David Tennant's leaving. These are his final few specials. Could we be meeting the Next Doctor a few episodes earlier? No, we couldn't. And I'll be honest, I love Jackson Lake. I love the way that he thought, in his mind that he was the Doctor. I thought that was great. I thought it was hilarious the way that his screwdriver was an ordinary screwdriver and the TARDIS was just a hot air balloon. And I love the way he had his own companion as well. It was a really nice touch. But I will admit, the Next Doctor title did seem a little bit misleading. You see, there's titles like The Name of the Doctor where you kind of think, wow, that tricked me into watching it, but they kind of made up for it because they actually did basically clarify why it was called that. The Next Doctor, yes, you can see why they called it that, but you could say it was a little bit underwhelming, but that's just the title. The episode itself wasn't too bad, really. I mean, the Cybermen came back as well, and it was great to see them with an episode of their own as well, which was good. Miss Hartman is the woman, I think that's the woman who is in the red dress. She came across a bit panto-esque at times, but I thought she was okay. I didn't mind Miss Hartman. I like the way she got taught a lesson in the end as well. And I love the setting as well. I thought the Cybermen kind of suited the setting. You know, them walking through the snow. I mean, I remember the trailer after Series 4 was finished. I remember that trailer like it was yesterday, seeing them walking through the snow. So I think it was great. I like the Next Doctor. I mean, it's not the best at all. I'm going to say that now. But I love Jackson Lake as a character, and you know, the scene where he finds out that he's not the Doctor and he's actually lost his wife is a very, very sad scene as well. So yeah, the few things in Next Doctor, like, you know, shooting down a massive ginormous Cyberman. I mean, I don't know what that ginormous Cyberman was all about, but yeah, that fell down on London, and no one ever remembered it falling down on London and toppling all them houses. Nevertheless, well, technically it never really toppled houses because it fell into the time. But anyway, I thought it was a good episode. It's not the best. Some people aren't a fan of it. I can see why. But personally, I like the Next Doctor. It's a good Christmas special. Not the best, but it's a good Christmas special. And I like the setting. And I like the characters. So I'd probably give the Next Doctor a 7 out of 10. Now we're on to the End of Time, and I'm not going to get lost in End of Time Part 2, because that's not a Christmas special, that's a New Year's Day special, and I'll be talking about that next week in my specials episode. So this is quite difficult to talk about the End of Time Part 1, just because I like to talk about them both and put them both together, but technically this was a Christmas special, and Part 2 wasn't. Damn the BBC and their scheduling. But yeah, the End of Time Part 1... God, I really want to talk about Part 2. Anyway, the End of Time Part 1 was a great lead up into Part 2, and as you can see on the screen, there were some brilliant scenes. I mean, it used to be my favourite Modern Who episode. I've slowly over time saw a few faults in it, like the Master's Resurrection. I thought that was, we've got portions of life. They came from nowhere, but we happen to have the opposite. But it's okay, because we have his biometrical signature on your lips. It's like, what the freaking hell's going on here? You know, it was a bit messy, a bit of a simple way to bring back the Master, but it led on from the last of the Time Lords, so you can see where it really came from. But I love the beginning with the Doctor when he was with Yude and he was trying to lock the times for the car. It was just vintage 10th Doctor. But I do think that this was not long after the Day of the Doctor, because of course he referenced marrying Queen Bess, which we saw in the Day of the Doctor. So you know, you can decide where it happened. But yeah, the End of Time Part 1 was brilliant. We got to see Donna again as well. We got to see Wilf. I mean, you can't not love Wilf with his little wiggle. And we got to see all his old friends as well trying to catch the Doctor. And the one standout scene is the one you can see on the screen right now, the cafe scene, when the Doctor basically pours out his emotion to Wilf. It was a very, very sad scene. You know, describing, you know, we've never really heard him describe what regeneration really means to him in a negative way. And he poured out his emotions to say that a new man will go sauntering away and he's dead. So yeah, very great acting from all round. It was a solid episode, a solid first half to a great two-parter. And of course the Master was great in it as well. Johnson, as always, is a fantastic Master, creating the Master race at the end as well. But yeah, I love Ten and Wilf. I think they're just such a great partnership, and I wish they could have been partners in more episodes. But yeah, the End of Time Part 1 is fantastic lead up into the End of Time Part 2, which you don't believe how gagging I am to talk about that. But I can't. That's next week. End of Time Part 1, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. And this is where the Christmas specials go downhill. They were doing so well, weren't they? Literally not a bad Christmas special up until the Christmas Carol. You know, earlier on when I was saying that I love Christmas specials that are set in present day and have the perfect balance between Christmas and well, relatable life, really. You know, Christmas and Doctor Who as well. This is where things really started to just go downhill. I mean, you know, some people prefer Christmas specials to just, you know, have Christmas slammed down your throat because they love the feeling. It's festive, it's happy, you know, as much Christmas as you can get on Christmas Day makes you feel better and all that. But I'm all for one for Christmas. I love Christmas. I think I love the lights, I love the snow, but not in Doctor Who. I know Matt is the perfect Christmas Doctor, as Moffat did quote him saying, but I thought A Christmas Carol was them basically forcing Christmas down your throat. I mean, I didn't like it. I think it was just too fantasized for my liking. It was too based on the freaking book A Christmas Carol as well. I mean, did they really run out of ideas? Don't know what to write about. Let's just base it on a bloody book. You know the sharks and the fish floating in the sky. It's just, I really just don't get this. I mean, Michael Gambon's in it. I mean, what they have him, one of the greatest screen legends ever, and he's just wasted in this. And Catherine Jenkins as well. She's also wasted. I mean, what a cast they had, and her singing was became a big part of the episode. I mean, A Christmas Carol for me is just too fantasized. They're throwing Christmas down your throat. I think it would have been great for the younger audience, but me as part of the, you could say, young adult audience, it just wasn't an episode for me. And I think that's just the way Moffat's Christmas specials are. They have to be the way they are because of Matt's Doctor, and that he appeals to a younger audience. So the Christmas specials have to be all happy-go-lucky, fun, Christmassy. And that's just not the Christmas specials that I like. I prefer Russell's. So I'm not going to go out criticising this episode too much because, of course, that was what was there at the time. That was Matt's Doctor, that was the audience. But it's just not for my liking. I really didn't like A Christmas Carol, so I'm probably only going to give it a 5 out of 10. And it's very overrated. Now onto a Christmas special that made A Christmas Carol look like the end of time. The Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe. Once again, you know, you think Moffat, he's had one go at writing the Christmas special. You know, it wasn't the best, we'll let him off. He can have another go, learn from his mistakes a second time round. Did he? Hell. He literally didn't even really change the title. The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, yeah, we'll just change the Doctor and the Widow and the Wardrobe. Yeah, we'll just change the title a little bit. You know, they could have at least changed the title. It is basically a Doctor Who spoof on a famous book. And I don't know why Moffat did that for the first 2 Christmas specials. Couldn't he think of an idea of his own? And once again, the reasons are pretty similar for this one, except this is worse than A Christmas Carol, because they weren't just shoving Christmas down our throats, they were choking us to death with Christmas. And like I said, I understand Matt's A Christmas Doctor. He was never going to work in a really, really serious Christmas special like David did, but it was just too fantasized, too childish. The child actors we met were terrible, and Bill Bailey, big massive cast member that people were looking forward to, was in it for a total of 5 minutes. The wooden creatures, what on God's earth were they? This episode was just really unwatchable for me, and it's just the way I am. Me, James, other people our age, we're older. These episodes do not appeal to us at all because we're not children. You can imagine children sat at home going, oh yay, snow, wooden creatures, they're thinking everything's just all looking beautiful. It's just not a story for us, and it never will be, no matter how many times I watch it. And I mean, freaking hell, the story was saved by a mother's love. That says it all for me. The Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe is an unbearable episode that I will never like. It's just one that I will probably never bother to watch again. That's why it sadly had to come with Time of the Doctor on DVD. Nevertheless, The Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe, I'll probably give it a 3 out of 10. Now, the only positive that came out of the Snowmen is that we got a new companion. The Doctor was a little bit darker, but apart from that, not a whole lot changed. I mean, look at the poster. Count how many snowflakes are there on there? Really? Again, shoving Christmas down our goddamn throats. And it's not an episode for me, but like A Christmas Carol, The Doctor and the Wardrobe, I'd watch the trailers and nothing would appeal to me. The reason why I watched the Snowmen first and foremost is because there was a new companion. That's what drawn me into this episode. And don't get me wrong, Victorian Clara, probably one of the best Claras we've had. I think she was great and she really suited Victorian. And I wish that the Victorian Clara could have actually travelled with the Doctor permanently, but of course she had to die to go with her storyline, which was a bit of a cock-up anyway. But, you know, Snowmen as villains, I mean, Moffat didn't really learn too much, did he? I understand that the Doctor had lost his best friends and he was acting a little bit darker in this and all that, but that didn't really change anything, I don't really think. I mean, the Paternoster Gang were in this, which was great. I like the Paternoster Gang, but they didn't even save this episode. I don't know what it is. I think the Great Intelligence was very Panto-esque. He was much, much, much better in The Name of the Doctor. The Snowmen, for me, I just really couldn't take seriously. I mean, really? The Great Intelligence using snow? Really? Is that the best they could have? Again, shoving Christmas down our throats. They literally, any excuse to have Christmas in. Villain, snow, snowman, Christmas. There you go. Excuses to throw Christmas down our throats. And like I said, it's great to, you know, be surrounded by Christmas on Christmas Day, but it's just too much for me. It wasn't as childish as the previous two, which I admire, but it was saved by Clara's tears. Yeah, okay. It's an improvement, I guess. And Clara was brilliant, and the 11th Doctor was brilliant. And we got introduced to a new TARDIS, which didn't suit Matt's Doctor or the episode. But they had to change anyway, didn't they? So The Snowman is an improvement, I'll give it that, and I will actually go back and watch this story, unlike the previous two, but I'd still only give The Snowmen a 5 out of 10. And finally, on to the most recent Christmas special, the most recent Doctor Who episode actually, The Time of the Doctor, which, again, like previous Christmas specials, and I know I'm repeating this so much, but that's the same problem with Moffat's, there was a lot of Christmas in this. I'll admit, The Time of the Doctor is an improvement on the previous three, but the one thing that really hooked me with this episode, and if this wasn't happening, I don't know how excited I would have been for it, it was a regeneration, of course. And on first viewing, I bawled my eyes out. I'm not going to lie. I cried my eyes out with Matt's regeneration. It is one of the top regenerations ever. I will give it that. And the acting was superb. But, of course, there were some flaws. I've repeated this, and James said to me just before I clicked narrate, I have said Moffat shoves Christmas down our throats more times than enough. I'm going to say it again. A Town Called Christmas. It's like he's trying to remind us this is a Christmas episode. Just in case you forgot, this is a Christmas episode. Just in case you've forgotten. Moffat, we know it's a Christmas episode, and you put A Town Called Christmas. Well done, Moffat. Well done. That's original. But seriously, you know, the acting was great there, but the thing is that the enemies, you know, in the trailers we were like, oh my god, Daleks, oh my god, Weeping Angels, Silent Cybermen. They were all great, but they were just mishy-mashed, and I think, you know, the time that they all had on screen was a bit messy. The Daleks took a front seat, which I don't think they should have. The Weeping Angels appeared once, which I was disappointed with. I'd rather have not been there at all. The Silents, I thought, were underused as well, considering they'd been a massive part of Matt Smith's The 11th Doctor's overall story arc. So I thought the monsters were very misused in this as well, and I'm not even going to go there with Tasha Lem. She puts me off rewatching it every time. I mean, she's worse than River. Her flirting with the Doctor was just unnecessary, and that moment when they're like, that bed looks like an altar, that altar looks like a bed, oh my god. Moffat must get a real high off writing these episodes. Does he really not have a life with his wife at home? He must get nothing in the bedroom. Anyway, why am I talking about Moffat's love life? Anyway, yeah, The Time of the Doctor, I thought the ending, the regeneration, was beautiful. It's one of my favourite endings to an episode because, of course, the Doctor's realised that he has no more regenerations. And it's great to see that the 11th Doctor has overcame his fear. Well, not his fear, you could say his dilemma. He stayed on this planet for years and years to protect the town called Christmas because of this stalemate. And the Time Lords were, you know, we found it tied up Matt's story arc very well as well, to find the Time Lords were behind the crack as well. And that he was kind of holding off the Time War from restarting as well. And the ending where he goes onto the rooftop, and of course, it's quite weird actually. I've just noticed in the 11th hour, his biggest scene was on top of a roof, and in his final episode, it was on top of a clock tower. I don't know if that's irony, but yeah, he gets given new regenerations, and the Daleks are destroyed by his regenerative energy, which I guess is fine. And the regeneration scene had me in bowls of tears. Amy's return was great. even though it kind of pushed Clara into the background a bit, which I felt a bit sorry for. And Capaldi's first moments were absolutely amazing. So the Time of the Doctor had its flaws. I think the enemies were misused. Tasha Lem was annoying. The Daleks shouldn't have took a front foot, and Christmas was forced down our throats a little bit. But there were some brilliant standout scenes in this, and the acting was top notch. So I'd probably give the Time of the Doctor an 8 out of 10. So to conclude a very long episode, we've talked about all 9 Christmas specials in New Who, and there've been some pretty good ones. A Christmas Invasion is just absolutely amazing. The Runaway Bride, another good one. Voyage of the Damned, underrated, don't see why people don't like it. The Next Doctor, one that I really enjoy. End of Time, another great introduction to a two-part. Bit sad that I couldn't really judge the entire special, but of course the second part was on New Year's Day. Christmas Carol, not going to go there. Doctor of the Wardrobe, not going to go there. The Snowmen, not going to even go there. And even the Time of the Doctor. So, of course, the ratings don't lie, as I always say. The favourite Christmas special of mine, of course, comes from Russell's era. And it's got to be David Tennant's debut episode. I just thought it had the perfect balance between Christmas and Doctor Who. It built up the new Doctor's first appearance very well, and the 10th Doctor was at his best. The introduction to a new Doctor could not have been better than this, and the Sycorax were amazing. Why have they not came back yet? My favourite Christmas special in New Who is the first Christmas special in New Who, of course, A Christmas Invasion. Before I go, of course, as I promised last week, I'm going to be answering some comments from both of last week's videos. 3 comments from episode 11 and 3 comments from episode 12. So then guys, the way these comments are going to work is I'm going to answer 3 from episode 11 and 3 from episode 12. I do apologise that I couldn't answer any from episodes 7, 8, 9 or 10, but of course they were pre-recorded, so unless I jumped in a TARDIS, travelled into the future to see the comments, I wouldn't have been able to answer them. So we're going to start off with Aaron Ball, who commented on episode 11, saying, "Great video, I agree with you a lot, but Craig is amazing and his stories are awesome, but I do agree, not great, but entertaining." I agree with you about Craig. I love Craig as a character. I would not mind if Craig came back, honest to God. I think he is a great character. But I'm not a fan of... the reason why I'm not a fan of the Lodger and Closing Time is not because of Craig as a character. The Lodger's not bad. I'll admit the Lodger is not bad. But Closing Time, I didn't like the Cybermen. Well, I like the Cybermen, but I just don't see why they were placed in that episode. They could have created a new villain or put something else in Closing Time. So I'm not the greatest fan of his episodes, but I love Craig as a character. I think he is brilliant, and James Corden as an actor is brilliant. Labyrinth 35 says, "Great video, Matthew, thank you very much, my friend. Episode 11 is a bit of a mixed bag for me, as I love episodes like Utopia and Turn Left, but I'm not a huge fan of Boomtown or Fear Her. My favourite episode 11 is Utopia, but it was very close between that and Turn Left. My least favourite episode 11 is quite easy to decide, and it's Fear Her." Well, episode 11s are very mixed, and I don't mind Boomtown. I don't know if that's just a guilty pleasure of mine. I just think it's such a fun, upbeat episode, and I can never get tired of watching it. But you'll find out what my least favourite is in my worst possible series. But yeah, episode 11, I would agree, is very, very difficult, and I would be stuck between Utopia and Turn Left. But for me, like I said during episode 11, Turn Left I just thought was just such an interesting concept. A world without the Doctor is something we rarely see. And to centre it around Donna as well was a great decision. And Rose was even good in it. And like I said, if Rose is good in an episode, then it must be bloody good, right? My final comment from the episode 11s is from K9 Studios, who says, "I will have to disagree. I didn't like Turn Left as I felt it was in the wrong place of the series. It was almost like Russell had forgot about a Doctor Light story and thought, crap, I forgot to do a Doctor Light story. Oh well, I will just add this in. For me, it was a good story, but it didn't suit Donna's character. It was too dark for her. I didn't like the way they made her the most important woman. Personally, I think the Doctor life would have been better without Donna. That's just me." Well, that's quite a strong opinion. Personally, I love Donna. I think she was a breath of fresh air after we had Rose, who fell in love with the Doctor. Martha just fancied the pants off him. So Donna's probably my favourite Modern Who companion so far. I really do love Donna, but I think this story suited her. I don't think it would have suited Martha, because I don't think it would have suited because there was a lot of Donna's family in there, so I don't think it would have suited Martha's family. Maybe Rose, but of course Rose came back anyway, so I think it worked for Donna. And I think it was in a good place for the series because it set up the finale very well with the Bad Wolf cliffhanger, which I freaking love, and it brought Rose back as well, which again set up the cliffhanger. So I disagree with you when you say that you thought it was in the wrong place. And Russell might have thought, oh God, we need a Doctor Light episode, but it was a very good Doctor Light episode. He may have forgotten about the Doctor may have hardly not featured, but that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. I think Turn Left is a very unique episode, and one that I really, really enjoy. Now on to the episode 12s, and the first comment is from Rose Allison, who says, sorry, there was one episode that I had a hard time listening to because I was so frustrated about the Dalek being your favourite character. That's my least favourite character, and I'm glad Jack destroyed him. Sorry, this is how I feel. That's one of my favourite moments when they run together, then gets destroyed by a stupid Dalek. Well, that's your opinion, I guess, but, you know, that moment, I think, when they were running towards each other, and, I mean, the lovey music, it's just... ugh, give me a bag to vomit in. I mean, great that they're friends and stuff, but, you know, there's the... I mean, I'll admit, the moment when he says, think about Donna, when you met Rose in this parallel universe, what did she say? When Donna said, ask her yourself, and he turns around and sees her, that's a beautiful moment. Do not get me wrong, I think that is gorgeous, and I'm not one for the Tennant-Rose love relationship. I think that's just such a lovely line from Donna when she says, go and ask her yourself. But then it's just when they run, and then the music builds up, and it's like they're smiling, and they might as well have sunflowers in the background. And then the Dalek comes over, and I think due to the episode, because of course the Doctor needed to regenerate to create the meta crisis, so I think this was a great way for him to regenerate. Not only did it build up for a great cliffhanger, but it ruined a moment, a very, I wouldn't say a good moment, but a moment the majority of the audience would have liked. I was one that wasn't in the majority, but yeah, it was a moment that most people would have been happy. Oh my God, yeah, Dr. Rose finally a meeting, and then the Dalek just ruins it. So I think I like that moment for the jokey reasons, in the way that I really don't like the lovey relationship, but it also worked for the story because, of course, the Doctor had to get shot somewhere or another, so it worked. Next comment is from Michael Hilliard, who says, I totally agree, the Stolen Earth was amazing. I love the feeling of seeing them all, even Harriet Jones, who I'd honestly forgotten about since the Christmas invasion. I also love the Army of Ghosts, Sound of Drums and the Pandora Opens. The rest weren't so great, thought Bad Wolf was okay. I know you love the new Cybermen, but I think they're a bit overpowered. I like the Cybermen better, to be honest. Well, I completely agree with everything you said there, and I'll agree with you as well when you say that the new Cybermen are overpowered. I do think they are quite overpowered. They needed an upgrade. I do think that they needed an upgrade from the Cybermen, because I just didn't like the way that they walked dead slowly, and they were like making really loud noises. They're not exactly deadly killers, but now they are. But I agree with you that now they've been upgraded, they've kind of went from underpowered to overpowered. So I hope they can somehow find a weakness with them, like the Suntarans with the back of the neck. I hope the Cybermen find a weakness that they can't exploit all the time, but it just shows that the Cybermen actually aren't indestructible. So I agree with everything you said about the Cybermen. It's okay with you preferring the Cybers ones. I prefer the new ones, but I do think they need to just, you know, weaken them just a little bit. And my final comment from this video is from yet another Doctor Who fan who has a very different opinion. Bad Wolf, this episode is possibly RTD's finest episode, 9 out of 10. Army of Ghosts, what a pile of shit, 2 out of 10. Sound of Drums, wow, RTD has a knack for writing piles of shit, 2 out of 10. Stolen Earth, good, not great, 7 out of 10. Pandora Opens, this is like the King's Speech of Doctor Who, no faults whatsoever, 10 out of 10. Closing Time, another fun, quirky episode, 5 out of 10. Nightmare in Silver, just the kids acting is able to bring anything half decent about this episode down, 3 out of 10. Wow, I agree with some of that, and I disagree with some of it. I'm not going to go through every single episode, because that's what I basically did last week, but Bad Wolf's a good episode. I just think that maybe I don't think enough happened in there for me. Army of Ghosts 2. I mean, I'm not a fan of Rose, but I thought she was alright in Army of Ghosts. I think it set up the finale well, so disagree with you there. Sound of Drums I was shocked to see as a 2 out of 10. I prefer Sound of Drums over Last of the Time Lords personally, but yeah, wow, 2 out of 10. Stolen Earth 7, fairly okay. Pandora Opens I love as well. Closing Time, I pretty much agree with you apart from the Cybermen, and Nightmare in Silver, I agree, the kids are just awful. So Very bold opinion by yet another Doctor Who fan, but I agree and I also disagree. But I love controversial opinions like that. They are some of the best comments to read. So then guys, there you have it. The double batch of videos from me this week are over, and that is my favourite Christmas special in New Who. As always, don't forget to hit a like on this video, subscribe to our channel and comment below your favourite Christmas special in New Who, and I'll answer them at the end of next week's video. And what I'm doing next week, of course, there is episode 15 left, which is the specials. I'm also going to be doing another bonus video next week, which will be my worst possible series. That video may get so much goddamn hate. Cannot wait to do that. But until then guys, take care, have a good week, and I'll see you next Wednesday.